Welcome to the jungle. I am Prince Sokka, and today I'm going to be telling you about the best Sokka in the game. I'm going to be going over their skills, as well as some gear recommendations, and how much you should invest in them. And at the very end, I'm also going to show you how to use them. Now, if you like the information in the video, make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, and smash the like button. Now let's get into it. So the first character we're going to start with is Water Tribe Sokka. He's currently found in every single character summon except for the 5-star summon. All of his skills reinforce the fact that he's an offense type character. His basic ability allows him to remove buffs, but only if that enemy has a single buff active, which isn't that great because a lot of enemies do multiple buffs, or by the time you get your turn, they'll have multiple buffs on them. The increased attack that you can gain for one turn would be great, but you need at least a skill level 3 on this character for it to be consistent and for it to be worth it. You'll have a 55% chance of gaining the increased attack, and it'll also be for 2 turns. His advanced attack will deal strike damage, which will give him a 50% increased chance of a critical hit, as well as attacking one random additional enemy with a 35% chance to stun that additional enemy. If you get it to skill level 2, you'll have a 50% chance of stunning that additional enemy. His passive ability will allow him to increase his attack and reduce the amount of damage he takes by 10% whenever he reaches 75, 50, and 25% of health. And it will only trigger 3 times in a match, so if you heal him up and he drops below these thresholds again, he won't gain double the bonus. For skill masteries, you want to reach at least a level 3, that way you'll increase the cooldown for your enemies whenever you crit every other turn. This is the only Sokka you have. I would focus on the destruction set to increase his crit damage, and the offense set to increase his overall damage, and the strike set to increase his crit chance. His advanced as well as some of his skill masteries revolve around him doing crits against the enemies, so those are the things that I would focus on to make him more valuable in battle. One relic I would suggest is the Panda Lily relic, because he will have a 55% chance to gain Echo for 2 turns. Echo will just allow the caster to gain an extra turn after they attack. This will benefit him because whenever you get to skill mastery level 3, you can increase the cooldown of your opponents every time he crits on every other turn. So if you have more turns, then there's more probability that you'll be able to increase the cooldown for your opponent's characters a lot sooner. Tested Water Tribe Sokka in the Patola mountain ranges because I wanted him to face characters that had a type advantage over him. I'm currently testing him in the Patola mountain ranges because a lot of the characters have the defense type and they'll do more damage against Sokka, so I can knock him down below his 75, 50, and 25% threshold a lot quicker to test him out. And already you can see that he gained the 10% increase in damage as well as the 10% damage reduction. His advanced ability has a 2-turn cooldown, so I put him in the cooldown slot. If you have the Panda Lily relics equipped, you'll have a better chance of getting an extra turn. That way you can go faster and use your ultimate and your basic back to back. The next character we're going to talk about is Warpaint Sokka. Warpaint Sokka is a defense character that is currently broken in the game. You can also find him in each of the summoning banners except for the 5-star summoning. His basic isn't all that impressive. He just does damage, and he also removes one offensive buff from the enemy, and he gains a defensive buff himself. The real magic is his advanced ability, which allows him to switch weapons and also gain an extra turn. His passive allows for him to heal for 20% of his max HP, as well as give himself and the highest attacking ally increased speed for 1 turn, but it only activates if you use both of his basics back to back. So you have to use his basic, swap weapons, and then use his basic. Second basic allows him to remove offensive stances and states, so that's anything like counter stance, horse stance, or charging state. Because he doesn't have any skill masteries, you can use him as soon as you get him, and he already has everything that you need. I would suggest putting a full speed set on him, that way you can ensure that he goes first every single time. Otherwise he's going to get targeted and one-shot by any of the characters because we're not going to put a lot of investment into his gear or his level. The relic you want is the Jawbone Dagger, and you want to try and max it out so that way you can get 10 focus whenever you gain an extra turn. That way every time you spam his extra turn ability, you can get more focus and do your ultimate as well as combos a lot quicker. Here you can see me using his advanced attack to gain an extra turn, call his allies for assist, as well as generate some focus. I repeated this method to eventually defeat the stage 5 version of the Arts Expedition for strength, as well as complete some of the other challenges at stage 4 and 5, so that way all I have to do is save up my skip tokens and use them for the challenging nodes. One Sokka I don't have is the Kyoshi Warrior Sokka. Kyoshi Warrior Sokka is currently found in the guaranteed 5-star character summons, as well as in Tales of the Four Nations character summons. If you have the Mind Kyoshi Warrior, and then you take her to skill mastery level 2, then you'll be able to play around with Kyoshi Warrior Sokka, because he's also in the challenge that you need to complete. It's her, Suki, Kyoshi Warrior Sokka, as well as another Kyoshi Warrior, the defense Kyoshi Warrior that heals. His basic ability deals fierce damage to one enemy and grants barrier to himself as well as one ally with the lowest HP for 1 turn. His advanced ability deals damage to all enemies and has a 75% chance of removing positive effects and states from each target. So that's anything from counter stance to horse stance, for example. And his passive works best whenever he's on a team that has different characters that can go into different states. So if he's on a full Kyoshi Warrior team, or if he's on a hybrid team with Iroh or Zuko or Aang or Katara or Toph that can go into different stances, then he'll benefit and he'll take reduced damage from attacks up to a maximum of 45%. The last Sokka we're going to talk about, and the best to invest in my opinion, is Wolf Cove Sokka. Wolf Cove Sokka is a feature character that you can find in the Festival of Peace, guaranteed 5-star character summons, and the Tale of Four Nations summons. He is a mind character that has a lot of utility and versatility in various game modes. Basic ability deals decisive damage. That just means that if the opponent has lost a lot of health, this attack will do even more damage based upon how much health the opponent has lost. And if you max it out to skill level 6, you'll have a 20% chance to gain an extra turn. His advanced attack also deals 3 hits of decisive damage and increases the turn bar of all your allies by 10%. This is very helpful because in battles where Wolf Cove Sokka will go first and then the enemies and your allies are right behind them, this could give you the extra turn bar that you need to help make your allies go first, and that way you can preserve your characters a lot longer. His passive will grant a random ally stratagems. Stratagems will allow you to decrease the defense of an opponent that you are attacking by 8% for every stratagem on the attacking character. So for example, if you have Wolf Cove Sokka and Zuko gains 3 stratagems from Wolf Cove Sokka, then whatever opponent he attacks will have 24% less defense. I recently got Wolf Cove Sokka to skill mastery 3, and the added healing for each stratagem that he grants at the beginning of the turn, as well as clearing those negative effects, really helps with the sustainability of the character. I would recommend a combination of speed arts and offensive arts. This is because you want to maximize the amount of damage that he deals with his decisive damage on his advanced and his basic, and you also want him to go as soon as possible, so that way if you use his ultimate to increase the speed bar of your allies, you can do it first before you get reamed by the opponent. For this video, I used the Paisho board because it will give me a 7% increase in defense whenever the caster receives turn bar, and I'll show you that in some footage later on. If you don't have that, use the Southern Night Lantern, which will decrease the amount of damage you receive from critical hit, or you can use Paku's Gift, which will increase the duration of elemental effects that Sokka places on the enemy. So here, Sokka is immune to the turn bar from the enemies, and he'll go first. Then when he uses his advanced ability, he'll give turn bar to himself and his allies, and the Paisho board will take effect. And right here, you can see the Paisho board taking effect, and he'll gain the increased defense to his stats. Zuko here has 2 stratagems, meaning that whoever he attacks will have a 16% reduction in their defense stat. And because he's a very high damage dealer, this can be the difference between one-shotting a character and that character surviving with a sliver of health. Also prevents you from wasting the combo meter, because if you have high damage dealers that also have stratagems, they can more easily get rid of characters, so you don't have to use the combo meter that you can save up for bosses or the next wave. That's going to be the video, so if you like the information, make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, and smash the like button. If you'd like to get into further detail to learn how to choose which gear sets to put on each character, click right here, and I'll see you in the next one.